Thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show is the Chief Commercial Officer, Mixta Real Estate PLC, Mr. Tola Akinsulire. He will be speaking on investing in tomorrow, the future with Mixta Africa, and we'd like you to start. Welcome to the show. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
So we heard about this Lagos New Town. That's a project that you're working on. Tell us how it came about.
Okay. I think for Lagos State, the best way for me to actually respond to that question is give a bit of historical context.
Okay.
Let's go back to 20 years ago. A little over 20 years ago, Lagos State was rising and growing, and we had a population of slightly over 10 million. And of course, the challenges of infrastructure, housing. I remember once upon a time, during that period, a colleague of mine got home, and his grandmother, who was living with him, asked him, "Oh, are you ready to go to work?" He arrived like 4 a.m. That was how bad, if we can all remember, traffic and everything in Lagos State. And so, as an organization, we decided we wanted to create an environment whereby you address both the infrastructure and the housing challenges that you have in Lagos State. And for us, we asked ourselves a question: where was the next growth in Lagos State? There were 3 points. There was the Mile 2 Badagry axis, there is the Berger Ibafor exit, and then there's, of course, the Lekki exit. And we decided to make a bet that Lekki was going to be the location that Lagos State was going to experience the next growth. And that was how we invested and bought about 1,600 hectares of land cumulatively within that axis. And for us, because we realized that this was something that we needed to do right, we decided to call in the big guns. The big guns in this case was bringing in a consultancy from Singapore, who was responsible for master planning about 90% of Singapore. So they helped us to create what we call the Lagos New Town. And the concept here is that you're going to have a comprehensive live, work, and play environment, meaning that you're not just going to have places where people can live, but at the same time, you want people to also be able to work there. And so you're going to have commercial nodes like light industrial, like places for small and medium scale enterprises. And at the same time, you're also going to have hospitality, or within the play section, you're going to have recreational assets. So for us, Lagos New Town represents a comprehensive response to being able to address the infrastructure and housing challenge in Lagos State, whereby everybody can find a home. So for example, within our residences, we're not just focusing on the bourgeoisies or the top 1% of the 1%. We're focusing on everybody. So within the housing spectrum, you've got affordable housing, middle income, upper middle income, and the luxury segment. So really for us, Lagos New Town represents our own response in being able to provide infrastructure and housing that is able to address not just the needs for the future, but also the needs for the present.
So my question is regarding what measures are you putting in place to ensure that it remains a destination for living, for working, for recreation, all those stuff. How are we ensuring that it doesn't get overtaken?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. And that's one of the things what happens when you decide to do a development and you call in the big guns. They more or less give you a framework which will guide how you are going to roll out. So for example, for our living spaces, for our residential, they gave us a comprehensive philosophy that, look, you need to focus on infrastructure and lifestyle. And so it's very much important that, look, as we roll out our development, infrastructure is very, very important. And let me talk in terms of infrastructure, just a little digression. Generally, when everybody talks about infrastructure, the only thing you think about is roads, etc. You put in water, sewage, and everything. For us, taking into account the uniqueness of Lagos State, one of the things we did with regards to infrastructure, even before we start building our houses, we actually raised the site levels between 1 meter to 1.5 meter. That guarantees that, look, for both now and the future, unless, as they say in the colloquial, we see the devil, tabar issue. You understand? If something like that happens, that's the only way you can have any of the residences flood. And with regards to, for when it comes to work, like I said, the concept really for this location is to have commercial nodes. And so our plan really going forward is that, look, we will start introducing those commercial nodes, because the only way you can make commercial work is if you have sufficient residences. Before a business you want to set up in a location, it has to be sure that it has sufficient number of people who will be interested in whether doing business in that location, sufficient number of people that can actually work there. Yeah.
So for me, this is a very important question. Yeah. How is Lagos New Town contributing towards environmental sustainability, especially when it comes to things like pollution and flooding and drainages?
Okay, that's a very loaded question because that's one of the hot button topic nowadays in terms of sustainability. But the way I would like to address that question is that this is something that has always been part of our rollout plan. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take two examples in terms of our development. I'm going to take, for example, the middle income housing, which we have in Adiva, and then I'm also going to take the premium income housing that we have, which is the Lakawele Golf and Culture Estate, which most people are familiar with anyway. So on Adiva, one of the things which we did was we built a lake. Now, the reason why we built that lake was the lake was supposed to serve two purposes. One, it was supposed to be a natural drainage for stormwater, and at the same time, the stormwater which collects within that lake, you're also going to treat it, and you're also going to use it for people to be able to use in their conveniences, for all those sort of things. And so for us, what we had done was that we have more or less reduced the overall cost of ownership for owners. They are reusing the water which you're getting within the environment to actually sustain their homes. I'll go to the Lakawele Golf and Country Estate. When we were building that development, we had to take note of some of the natural drainage channels that you already had. For example, you have your swamps. We had to retain all those things. And we find out that because of that, you don't have things like flooding. In addition to that, we also retained a lot of the natural vegetation. The benefit of that is that it significantly reduces your need for cooling within your residences. So in terms of you having to turn on your ACs for a long time, it significantly reduces that. Those are some of the things we've done in the past. Going into the future, we've already started introducing things like renewable power. For example, like our Marola Park. Marola Park actually received IFC EDGE certification in terms of its development, saying that, look, in terms of being able to meet the sustainability standards of the World Bank, and also ensuring that the total cost of ownership for people. And those are things we'll continue to keep on introducing in our development.
Yeah, so in addition to you've mentioned one of the new developments for the future, what more can you tell us that we have to look forward to in the Lagos New Town?
Oh, in the Lagos New Town, like I said, it's a whole spectrum of housing for every single class, affordable, middle income, upper middle income, and then the premium. So one of the developments which we just launched, that's the Lakawele Lakes Annex. Now, this is primarily for people who are basically closer to the upper middle income. They don't have the ability to afford something within the premium of Lakawele Lakes, but they would still want something close to Lakawele Lakes. And the benefit we're giving them is that, look, you can buy something close to Lakawele Lakes, and then we'll give you substantial discount for you to be able to access membership within Lakawele Lakes and the recreational facilities within Lakawele Lakes. So you still have the opportunity of benefiting. But it's not just only for them. We also are focusing on the affordable space. And for us on the affordable space, I'm sure if I ask everybody on the table, what do you define as affordable? What's your price point for affordable? 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, etc.
You don't reach 5 million.
You don't reach 5 million. See, there you go. But the way in which we define affordable is that the convenience which it allows people to pay.
Oh.
And one of the things which we've introduced is we've introduced the opportunity for people to be able to get mortgages at 15%. Yes, I did not make a mistake. I said 15%. So this is one of the things which we are introducing within our affordable space, meaning that if you get a mortgage of 15%, whereby you can pay that over as long as 20 years, price no longer becomes a consideration. You're basically just looking at, the convenience of you being able to own a home. Yeah.
Fantastic. So
seems well thought out. Everything.
we say a lot of things, but we don't have a clue where this LNT is. So is it in Aja? Is it in Ikeja? Is it in Badik? Which area exactly is it?
It's on the Lekki Airport Expressway after Aja. I'm sure for most of everybody we're familiar, most people are familiar now with the Lakawele Lakes Golf and Country Estate. Lakawele Lakes Golf and Country Estate is actually one of the developments within the Lagos New Town. Like I said, there are so many other developments that we have in that particular location. And just for the benefit of everybody listening to me, if you'd like to find out a bit more in terms of Lakawele Lakes, there's a phone on which you see on the screen. You can always call. We're having an open house on Saturday, so you can always come in. You can use that as an opportunity to even go around our estates, see if everything I'm saying.
Because they don't usually allow people just come in.
Yeah, but that you'd have a guide. You'd have somebody who is guiding you through that whole experience.
So you don't need an invitation to?
No, you don't need an invitation. It's open house. You just come to Lakawele Lakes Golf and Country Estate. There will be members of our team who will be there, and they can take you around Lakawele Lakes. They can also take you around the rest of our development so that you have a full view of what it is that we offer at Lagos New Town.
Well done. Fantastic. Well done. Wishing you the best.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you very much.
That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we're on to the elections in Edo and hear your thoughts on it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.